Hi guys! Today I'm going to film kind of a Q&A question about large families. So here we go. Hi guys! Alright, so just to kind of give you a background, I have 4 daughters, 4 children. 12, 7, 5, and 3. I got it right. So some people would consider that a really big family and some people would not consider that a family. Me personally, I think when you have 5 or more, you have a big family, so I think we're right on the edge there. But I kind of felt like since some people consider us a big family, I could go ahead and answer some of these questions. So I am doing some Q&A of big families. So question number 1. The hardest number to transition into when you have 1 child going to 2, when you have 3 child going into 4. Honestly, I don't think there was really a time where I felt like the transition was super hard. Probably the most difficult for me was 3 to 4 just because I had a lot of outside other things going on too that I had felt like I was a little overwhelmed. But it was a very small transition period, and it really wasn't like because we went from 3 to 4. It was just, like I said, a lot of outside things. I just always knew that I wanted a bigger family, so I don't know, it just kind of felt natural to keep adding. Number 2, are you Catholic, Mormon, Amish, or any other religion that has a lot of children? We are Catholic. I don't think that really has anything to do with my family size. That's just, this was what we got. I do not completely follow the Catholic teachings in family planning. I'm going to go into a little bit more of that later on. But so I don't think that our family size has anything to do with my religion. Number 3, dealing with sibling squabbles. How do you deal with that? I have been really trying hard lately to let my children solve little minor problems, like who's sitting in what seat, who's stealing what toy, whose turn it is, that kind of thing. I'm trying to let them solve their own problems with that because I feel like that has been stressing me out a lot in the last few years, and I want to just step back. I want them to have the ability to gain those skills into problem solving. But my children are not perfect. They do get along a lot of the times. They are really good friends, and me and my husband really strive to encourage our children to have a good bond, and we want them to know that they're going to be sisters for the rest of their life, so they might as well just get along. Okay, so number 4, how do you discipline? I actually watched a video of a woman who did a lot of these questions, and she answered this question, I thought, a way that was really, I really agreed with her. And she didn't really go into details on how she disciplines because there's a lot of opinions, and a lot of people are very opinionated in their opinions. And so certain people feel strongly about certain ways of discipline, and certain people don't like those things. So I definitely want to say that before I had children, I had a view, and now that I have children, that view has totally changed. I realized that each child and each situation is totally different, and what works with one kid and will not work with the other kid. I definitely believe in love languages, and so we kind of use the love language in a way against our children in disciplining. An example would be if your child really loves quality time. Well, in order to punish them for something that they've done wrong, you basically separate them, like grounding them, putting them in the room, separating them from that quality time. And then that kind of uses them as like a motivation, like if you wanted this quality time, then you need to behave. And then, so that kind of way of thinking. Like I said, I don't want to go into too many details about my discipline because I don't want to get my head bit off. I know what works with my family, and I know what works with my kids, and so don't bite my head off about that. Number 5, what falls by the wayside in the midst of chaos? Definitely cleaning. I mean, I try my hardest to stay on cleaning, but there's just some days where it's just crazy and it doesn't get done. So I definitely learned to just go with the flow and not have huge expectations on myself and my home. Number 6, do you feel like at a certain point it doesn't matter how many children you have? So I would say if you have like a huge gigantic family, then it doesn't matter because you're just kind of going with things. But I've never had that many family members, so I don't really know if having like 12 children, if your individual relationship with each child is still I hear somebody crying. Oh, goodness. They're supposed to be being good. It's just Hazel whining too. She's not even crying for a real reason. You know how you like know your kid's cries? Okay, so I definitely, for me, my goal in life is to be my children's number one fan. And so I think the only way to do that is when you know your limit. I want to know each of my kids' birthdays. I want to know their favorite colors. I want to know what they want to be. I want to know everything about their day. And so if I feel like I can equally make sure I give each child that attention and have that bond with each one of them, then I'm good. I think that once you hit your limit, you should probably stop. When you don't, I think that definitely having too many kids is probably not the greatest idea. Just to have kids, make sure you're giving your child what they individually need in an emotional level and other levels too. You don't want to be having children that are butt naked just because you can't afford. I'm just rambling, you guys. I don't know what I'm talking about. Okay, let's move on to the next question. What was the most difficult age? Definitely newborns for me. I just do not do good on lack of sleep. So newborn is hard for me, especially when you add in other children on top of having a newborn. That's the most difficult for me. Number 8, how do you deal with when being overwhelmed? In the heat of the moment, when I'm overwhelmed, honestly, I pray. I do a lot of praying. I definitely feel like God helps me a lot when I'm feeling overwhelmed. If I've had like a rough week and my husband can tell, he'll be like, go to Hobby Lobby, go walk around. Or I'll go to the park and take pictures. Or I'll just even go take a walk and take pictures. Taking pictures, photography is a huge, huge stress relief for myself. Number 9, do your kids have chores? I try to do like a chore chart and be more organized and specific on what chores for each children, and it just didn't really work out that way. I guess I got lazy. It's my fault, really. But my kids do clean their room. They do make their bed. They do put their laundry away. They do have to help clean up after dinner. So there's just every normal day things that I definitely make sure that my kids that are capable of doing those things, they do those things. And the baby, I kill her, my baby. She's 3. What she can do, she helps a lot. She loves helping. So what she can do, I let her help. Number 10, do your kids have activities, sports clubs? Do you limit those? I think it's really important that our kids explore other avenues of expressing themselves and interest and learning different things and different skills. So yes, we do encourage them to do activities. I definitely want them to do some sort of Girl Scouts or youth groups. So both of my older children Julia is in a youth group and Bella's in Girl Scouts, and they do all kinds of activities with those groups. Julia is doing vocal lessons. She really is interested in singing, so she started doing vocal lessons. Belle really wants to do Girl Scouts or cheerleading again, and I'm just in the process of trying to find a cheerleading squad for her to join. So we definitely we do limit it to 2 just because we still really want our family time and we don't want to be constantly running here. So number 11, what type of car do you have? I have a Honda Odyssey. I love my van. I absolutely love my van. It's the perfect size. It fits us and plus some babysitting kids if I have to go somewhere real fast. The only problem that I have is our doors. The side doors don't want to open properly or don't want to shut properly. So right now they are completely shut and locked and they will not open. It is some sort of flaw that I guess a lot of Honda Odysseys have. My cousin has one and her van does the exact same thing. She actually tried to pay for it to get fixed and it was a lot of money, and a week later it did the exact same thing. So I'm really bummed that it's not working. I want this van to last a couple more years and I don't know. We're gonna have to see what happens. Number 11, what type of car, I just did that one. Number 12, one thing that's changed since having a large family. Like I said, the discipline ideas have changed, definitely. Just eating out has changed, the way that we spend money. Me working. I remember specifically having a conversation before we even got married or had kids, and we had just agreed like this time in history, it's just not plausible for you to live on one income. Like, you have to have two parents working in order to survive. And then when we had children and we kind of broke things down, we realized, no, we are going to have one income in order to survive, because paying for daycare is ridiculous. So I stay home with my kids. I do offer babysitting for other people. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to go into any more detail of that. But yeah. So yeah, that's definitely changed. Number 13, how do you plan fun days? So if you've been a viewer of this channel, you see that we go on a lot of fun days, just family little outings and stuff. I definitely plan days that are like off normal hours, like during the middle of the week, or just, you know, weekday evenings. Like, I don't like going places that are super, super crowded. So just because with a big family, I have to keep track of everybody. So I like to go places where I can know where everybody is, and it's just, I feel safer that way. I definitely do free places. We do park. We do a lot of outdoor stuff. There is a website for our area called CincyUSA.com. I believe that's it. And there's a tab that says free, and I search that all the time. Any free activities going on, free festivals, free, just regular day free things. So there's all kinds of ideas there. So I go on that all the time. So that's how I plan my fun days. Number 14, would you ever do a TV show based on your large family? No. I like putting myself out there on YouTube because I feel like I'm in control of what I put out and what I want to share and what I don't want to share. And I feel like if I put that onto like a TV show, they would be more inclined to find like the dramatic things or like the juicy storylines. And there's a lot of that stuff in my family, but I don't want to be disrespectful. I don't want to exploit my children. I don't want them to ever feel embarrassed even 10, 20 years down the road and look back and feel embarrassed. So it's very important to me that my family is kept in our little bubble. Number 15, will you encourage your children to have a large family? This one cracks me up because I don't, like I said, I think my number one job as a mom is to be their number one supporter. I want to be their biggest fan, and that means encouraging and loving and wanting them to do what makes them happy. If they want to have a big family, I'm all for that. If they don't ever want to get married and don't ever want to have children, then I'm all for that. My husband is not the same. We just don't see the same on this. He doesn't understand it because my husband is just a family man, and to him that's what makes him happy, and he thinks everyone should have that because that just makes sense to him. To me, I understand the appeal and that it's just not for everybody. And so I understand why people choose a different route of way of living. So I know he would love our children no matter what they decide in their life, but it just cracks me up that we see differently in that, because I am such a huge advocate for big families, and I love big families, and I love my family, but I can understand why people don't choose that. And if my children don't want to choose that, I don't have a problem with that. That being said, I know that I was made for this earth to be a grandma. So one of my 4 children better make me a grandma. Even if it's just to a dog, I don't care. I want to be a grandma. Number 16, what is my me time look like? Definitely just taking pictures. That's pretty much all I ever do on my me time is I take my camera and I go take pictures. The only other thing that I do on my me time is go grocery shopping. Number 17. What part of a homemaker motherhood do you feel like you are an expert in? I am an expert in I don't even know. I don't feel like I'm an expert in anything. I mean, just encouraging my kids is, I guess, the biggest expert I am. I hope that's enough for them because I'm not a good cook. I'm not a great housekeeper. I'm not really great at decorating. I'm not really great at homework. I'm not really great at remembering like silly things like making my kids go to the doctor, but I always forget to make the doctor appointments until super late, or dentist appointments, or even just like ugh, I don't even know. I'm horrible at laundry. I feel like there's a whole long list of things that I'm really bad at and a short list of what I'm really good at. And it cracks me up that people are always like, "You're such a great mom." And it's like, "Thanks," but I don't feel like I'm such a great mom. I feel like I fail at so much that the only good thing I am good at is like taking pictures of my kids. And I don't know if that's even that great of a thing, but that's what I like to do, so I do it. Number 18. Do you ever eat out? We used to eat out a lot when it was just me, my husband, and Julia. We used to eat out all the time. Definitely lately we don't. A tip that I have for eating out with a big family would probably be takeout. So like we would go get food somewhere and we would bring it home. We just drink whatever drinks are here at home. We don't have to tip anybody. We can, we don't have to, we wouldn't get dessert anyway or appetizers anyway, but you skip all that and you basically just get what you want, take it home and eat it at home. That's probably the only real tip that I have when eating out, maybe finding like kids eat free places. We've done that, but for the most part, we really don't eat out. I loved growing up always having family dinners, and that is something me and my husband really wanted with our family, so we make it a point to have family dinners. We have sit down family dinners in the dining table almost every night. Almost. Literally, probably maybe once every 2 weeks we don't eat dinner, maybe together as a family, and I love that. That's literally my favorite time of the whole day. Okay, number 19. How do you make time for your husband? So right now my husband's working crazy insane hours. So in the mornings when he gets up, and he usually gets up anywhere from 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, sometime in that time. When he's awake, I wake up and we just kind of talk while he's getting dressed, while he's getting ready, putting his shoes on, getting his stuff together. We'll have little conversations, and maybe that's only 5-10 minutes, but it helps me feel like I'm starting my day off and that we're connecting first thing in the morning, and I appreciate that. We call and text all day long. And not, I almost feel like that sounds like a clingy thing, but it's not. Like I literally think that he is my better half. He's just the other half of me, and I don't mean that in like the most romantic way, or I mean that in literal, because I could not function in my life without him. He knows everything about me. He knows my whole soul and what I'm thinking, and I need him and his support and his love, and so we have complete open communication. I can call and text him anytime. He calls and texts me anytime. And when he gets home, we stay up a little bit just together. We always put the kids to bed at a certain time, and then we spend some time together before we go to sleep. So just having that constant connection with him is very important. Date nights are important. We try to do once a month, if not once every other month. Lately, it has not been working out the way that we wanted to, so we're going to try really hard next year to really make sure that happens. But I definitely feel connected to my husband just because we're constantly talking. So, number 20. Here's the big question. Do you want any more kids? Okay, so this is what I was going to talk about earlier with us being Catholic. We have 4, and I would absolutely love more than anything to have another one. I'm just going to lay it all out here. I'm just going to be totally honest. I have a birth control, and right now I hate it. I absolutely hate this thing. It is almost due to get out next month, and so I am going to, it's in my arm, so I'm going to have that removed. And we agreed, me and my husband agreed, because we're still not 100% eye to eye on it, but I think we've definitely decided that we're going to take the next year and just leave it up to God. We are just going to completely leave it up to God, and if we get pregnant next year, then awesome, and if we don't, then we know that God just felt like it wasn't meant to be to add to our family. And I know maybe people might think that, like, yeah, but you're only giving it a year, and what if in like 3 years God decides to add to your family? There are other ways of adding to our family, and we feel like, I feel very confident in our decision that this next year is the deciding year on if biologically we're going to add to our family. If not, then by the end of next year, I am going to be getting my tubes tied. I just feel like that'll be the perfect time because Stella will be in school at that time, so I'll have less children that I'll be responsible for, and I could have a more easier recovery time. So I'm very confident in that decision, and I'm excited to see how God decides to play that out. Everyone knows that we have our 4 daughters, so everybody's always like, oh, you gotta try for your son. And I honestly would love more than anything to have a son. I think my husband deserves a son. I think my husband is like the most amazing man, and there needs to be more men like my husband. And I think what better way to have that than us raise a son to be like my husband. So I want to give him a son so much. I know that that's not my decision. That's kind of based on his DNA. But honestly, I don't ever want to say that, because I almost feel like that makes it seem like my girls are not good enough. And that is absolutely not the case. My girls are everything to me, and my life would not be anything like it is without each one of my girls. And I am so proud, and I am just so blessed to have each one of them. They're so special. There's something about each one of them that just makes this world a better place. So the only reason that we would be adding is because we would want to add, not because our girls are not good enough, not because we don't want another girl, not because they've disappointed us in any way possible. It would just be this, what we feel like that's what God wanted. So anywho, that is my big family questions Q&A. If you guys had any more questions about having a big family, like I said, I don't feel like 4 is a big family. I think it's a bigger family, which is so funny to say, because bigger is supposed to be bigger than big, but when you're talking about family size, to me, bigger doesn't mean it's a big. Anyhow, if you understand what I'm saying, you understand what I'm saying. If not, oh well. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you're not subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. I would really appreciate having you guys along to watch all of these videos. I hope you're enjoying Vlogmas, which is where I post a video every single day in the month of December up until Christmas. And if you do, hit subscribe so you can keep following. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you all next time. Bye.